Hi, I'm Mary Kopczynski, the CEO of Regalytics. Welcome to this week's Regulatory Roundup. Happy September, the best month of the year because my birthday is in September. Also, it's still sunny and warm, but not gross. And if you're like me and the fall gets you raring to go, I suggest you attend the SEC Investor Advisory Committee meeting on September 8th that is discussing all sorts of sexy topics like SPACs and investor protection in a digital world and regulatory reform for the PCAOB. Or perhaps the CFTC September 15th meeting discussing how the derivatives markets can facilitate the transition to a low carbon economy, including cap and trade. Oh, wake up, brain. Time to get back to school. The regulator of the week is the OCC and the DOJ working together. They settled a suit with Cadence Bank, headquartered in Atlanta, for lending discrimination. They caught the bank redlining predominantly Black and Hispanic neighborhoods in Houston and not lending as much in those areas. The fine is $3 million, and part of the settlement includes Cadence investing over $5 million to increase credit opportunities for residents of those neighborhoods. And since we're on fines, I will add one more. The SEC sanctioned 8 firms in 3 separate actions for violations of cybersecurity rules and failures to protect confidential customer information. The Cetera entities are going to pay $300K, Cambridge is paying $250K, and KMS is paying $200K. The topic of the week is market safety. You know when you work on something for a decade and you get tired of it and ignore it for a while? Well, this week I could not ignore living wills and market safety a la Dodd-Frank. It came back into effect full force. Number 1, the Bank of England put out a paper on, get this, cocoa bonds. Some of you have no idea what I'm talking about, but it was an innovative way for big banks to raise capital with convertible bonds that were considered safer. ESMA put out a consultation paper on draft regulatory technical standards under the Markets in Financial Instruments Regulation, MIFID, but with the R, regarding suitability assessments for DRSP management body members. And to unpack everything I just said, if you sell data in Europe, you have to be registered and follow a lot of rules. Well, guess what? Now there are more rules. The FCA also put out a paper worth reading having to do with loan-based peer-to-peer crowdfunding platforms. They identify key risks and outline their expectations of the P2P firms. Coming back to the US, the FDIC opened a tech sprint designed to identify and develop better tools to understand how resilient a bank is to major market disruptions. I can think of a lot of you who have built software having to do with CCAR or risk or capital requirements. You would be a good candidate for a tech sprint like this. And I know, I did. I saved the best piece of news for last in this case. So if you are listening, this is the most important news, and I guarantee you will benefit greatly from knowing it. The joint agencies of the Fed, the FDIC, and the OCC put out a guide for conducting due diligence on fintech companies. Note, if you are working at a fintech company, this is a must read. So there you go. Easing you back into the fall. You have one more week of peace while the regulators celebrate Labor Day and in some cases Rosh Hashanah, so enjoy it. But starting September 8th, they are going to explode. So call me and get your subscription so it's all set up and ready, and you can easily stay on top of it all just like I do. See you next Wednesday on LinkedIn and YouTube.